franktalks.com.
Relationships, sex, passion with Dr. Laurie Betito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Dr. Laurie Betito. Tonight it is our regular monthly feature we call Dating Dilemmas. I am joined by Frank Kermit, who is a dating coach, best-selling author and educator, and a relationship columnist for the West End Times. And he joins me here every month, actually more than once a month, because he also produces our alternative show, which is next week. But tonight we're focusing specifically on the whole idea of seduction and the pickup artist or something of that nature, right, Frank?
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun show.
And we had the idea, of course, after this new study that came out, and it was a study called Pickup Artist Training Works, but Makes You Feel Bad About Yourself. A German researcher set out to determine if he could make ordinary undergraduate students more attractive to the opposite sex by teaching them pickup artist techniques. The experiment was a huge success, but it also had unintended consequences. Plenty of pickup artists claim they can turn shy nerds into charming ladies' men, but little academic research has been done on how well their lessons actually works. And this is the first time somebody actually looked at whether it works. And it does work. Teaching men and women how to pick up, connect, what have you, works, but there's a downside. So talk to us a little bit about the study, Frank, because you know you've been in this field before. You're an ex-seduction coach yourself.
That's right.
You'll have to tell us about that too, of course, because that whole thing is intriguing. And that's how we first met.
That's right.
Not that you picked me up, but I'm just saying that's how we first met on that topic, is I was intrigued by that whole idea of what is a seduction coach? What do you teach? How do you do this? And you had like workshops in Toronto and you taught men all these techniques. And so you've been doing this a long time and you know the industry.
Absolutely.
So you know the ups and downs of this industry. So tell us about this study and what they taught. And is it some of the same things that you were teaching men and women?
It is, actually. They employed a number of the tactics, telling people to go indirect instead of direct, making physical contact while they're having a conversation, very light physical contact because people respond to that. They talked about body language, and they talked about how to get a phone number, and for women, how to get an invitation to go out for drinks.
And that's how they measured it, actually. How many phone numbers you got before you got the dating, the seduction coaching, and how many drink invitations for the women they got before and after, and there was a huge jump.
There was a huge jump.
So it works.
Look, the stuff works, but it works because it's not a magic technique. It works because these are communication skills,
right,
both verbal and nonverbal, which address a people's emotional needs, and people respond to that. The problem, however, is that sometimes when somebody is studying this material and goes out and employs new behaviors that they're not comfortable with, it's not themselves.
Right, they don't feel like they're being genuine somehow.
Exactly, and they feel like they're doing something wrong. It's in the back of their minds, and I went through this as well when I went through my development. Does the person really like me, or does the person like the tactics that I used? And
so you felt like you were manipulating a situation.
Absolutely. You felt that you weren't really being true to yourself. You felt that you were doing something wrong. And some pickup artist tactics are wrong. Some of them are designed really to attack somebody's self-esteem to begin with.
Well, how could that work?
Well, okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, it's called a neg.
A neg.
Yes.
Okay.
What the neg is designed to make you feel bad about yourself and make me look good in the process. So the way the neg starts, I'll look at something about you, something on your person that I know is fake.
Go ahead. Try picking me up. Go ahead. I dare you.
All right. So I might look at you and I'll say something like, well, see, there's nothing fake about you, so it's kind of hard for me to say. But I might.
That's right. There's nothing fake about me.
But let's say there was. Let's say you were wearing some form of jewelry that I could tell was costume jewelry, not real.
Okay.
So I might say, wow, that's a beautiful bracelet you have. Are those real pearls? And if you turn around and say, well, no, they're not. My response is supposed to be utter disappointment, as in, oh, well, it's still nice. This is an attack on somebody's self-esteem, making them feel like, oh, well...
But how would that work? Wouldn't I just look at you and say, what a jerk?
Not necessarily. The fact that I'm bringing attention to it and then continuing with the conversation right away, it makes the person who is wearing something usually to get attention realizing, wait a minute, I got attention, but it wasn't great attention. Here's another neg, and this is a little bit more devastating. The way this neg works, it doesn't matter what you respond. It doesn't matter if you respond yes, or it doesn't matter if you respond no. The tactic is used to reframe whatever you say as a weakness.
Ew.
I'm going to give you, I'm going to ask you this question, and we're going to go through both answers, a yes and a no.
Okay.
So tell me, Dr. Laurie, did you get along well with your father specifically?
Yes.
Well, you see, that probably says that you're not really capable of handling the hardships that would come in a relationship. You probably wouldn't be a very meaningful long-term girlfriend, but we can still get to know each other.
What a horrible thing to say. How is that a pickup?
Well, here's what happens is that it causes this type of exact reaction. So you got that emotion going. You got the drama.
It's like, how dare you?
Yes, but then we continue talking, and I've already set it up that I'm thinking you're not going to be that great a girlfriend. You're going to have to earn it from me tonight. You're going to have to prove yourself to me. That's the type
I'd tell you to go take a hike, tell you the truth.
Well, you know what? You may, but there's a lot of people who wouldn't. Now, let's ask that same question, but this time, tell me no.
Okay.
So tell me, Dr. Laurie, how did you get along with your father?
Oh, didn't.
Well,
Not true. Didn't. Okay.
Well, you know, I hear that and I can understand that. So you probably wouldn't be able to appreciate a really great guy if he was right in front of you.
Ew, that sucks. That's awful. I can't believe that's a pickup line. But we'll continue about the neg. Coming up, we're talking about pickup artists, pickup techniques, seduction techniques. I don't know, that wouldn't seduce me, I can tell you that much. But apparently it works. We'll find out more when we continue our dating dilemmas right here with myself and Frank Kermit.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com. Coaching available in person, by phone, and by Skype. For singles, couples, and alternative lifestyles, franktalks.com.
franktalks.com. franktalks.com. franktalks.com. franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight. Oh, we're talking about a very interesting topic, the whole idea of picking up and pickup artistry. And Frank, you may not know this about Frank because he doesn't really publicize it anymore, but there was a time when Frank was internationally known as a big seduction coach in the whole coaching community. It's not something you flaunt too much, I know now.
Not anymore, no.
Right, because there's a whole negative side.
Incredible stigma.
Right.
There's incredible stigma to being associated as a pickup artist, seduction guru. And there's a lot of people who used to be proud of that title. I'm a pickup artist. And they're coming out now and saying, well, you know what? I don't do that anymore. And
They don't want to be a... However, we will be speaking with a pickup artist later on tonight who does study the whole thing. And
We'll be speaking with a pickup artist student, actually.
okay. Oh, he's a student of...
He's a student of pickup. He's trying to learn
Pickup.
himself. Yes.
Oh, we'll see how far he's come along. We were talking about the in other words, a negative approach to pickup, and I'm fascinated by that because it's like the way I understand it now is you, as the pickup artist, as the guy, you're trying to destabilize the person you're trying to pick up, to throw them off somehow, to make them feel like they have to somehow prove to you that they're good enough. So you treat them as if they're not good enough so that they have to prove to you that they're good enough, and they do that by having sex with you.
Exactly. And both men and women pickup artists do this.
Yeesh.
For example, one of the advice that women pickup artists use is that they tell the women pickup artist students, pretend that you're bisexual. So this way the guy will be really intrigued into you. And assuming that she's not bisexual, she still has to act as if she's interested in girls, and there's a potential that she could recruit other girls for him.
Oh, God.
As a means to manipulate him. Now, let's be clear,
This
not
whole idea is makes me so uneasy.
not all pickup artists are bad. There are some very legitimate pickup artists out there, and the key is to find pickup artists who do not promote lying to somebody to get them into bed.
Yes, exactly. We got a couple of text messages. Actually, you can call in if you've got questions or comments about picking up. I'd love to hear from people who've even studied this kind of thing, or if you've used pickup techniques. Where did you learn them from? How did you learn, do they work for you? 514-790-0991. You can text us at 514-800. Two questions here. Does Frank teach how to deal with rejection?
Absolutely. It's not easy at first. We're going to look at what meaning you attach to that rejection and try to deconstruct that. The idea is to get into a mindset of experimentation. And rather than go up to a girl and try to get her to like you, what I do is that I teach guys to start thinking in terms of what type of people they want in the categories of relationships of their lives. What are they looking for in a one-night stand, in a friends with benefits, in a non-exclusive girlfriend, exclusive girlfriend, and so on, so that they actually can start having a real conversation with somebody and get to know them. So that when they approach a girl, it's not, I got to approach her and I got to get her to like me.
Right, and then if she does it, you still have to accept that you're going to get rejected a lot of the time.
You're going to get rejected the majority of the time, and this is something that a lot of the pickup artist material tries to sway potential clients, with the marketing of, get all the women you want. Well, that's not realistic, because you don't control what somebody else wants.
Right.
What it is going to teach you to do is how to be more open, how to communicate better, and how to present yourself in a more positive manner.
Right. And if you get rejected, that's part of the game.
Exactly.
That's all part of it. Dr. Laurie, I know your guest is an expert, but I think the best way is to be nice and treat the women with respect and honesty. Does that not always work?
When you're too nice, it's a turnoff. And the way I teach it is that a guy's got to go into an interaction having his own boundaries very well set. And if somebody's going to take advantage of his niceness, he has to be able to recognize the signs of a user. Let's be clear, as much as we're talking about the big bad pickup artist of men out there, there are also women who abuse men who are way too nice and give way too much attention that is unearned. So it's good to be
earning of.
It's good to be generous. And I agree, you must be honest, you must be respectful of boundaries, but you must have your own boundaries as well to make sure that you are not taken advantage of.
I was speaking to, I was helping a fellow in therapy, and he was very down because somebody had broken up with him, and he was describing how much he was giving to this woman, paying for things and taking her on trips, doing all kinds of things, and she was treating him like crap.
Yes.
To tell you the truth. And finally he got to see that he doesn't deserve that he can't be giving. She didn't earn it. She didn't give back anything. And, now months later he's in a new relationship where the woman is giving to him, and so he doesn't feel that there's not that negative energy anymore because he's getting actually more than he's giving now. So it's he's earning it, she's earning it, and it makes a lot of sense. More about pickup artistry coming up here on Passion Dating Dilemmas right here on CJAD 800.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
Coaching is available in person, by phone, and by Skype for singles, couples, and alternative lifestyles.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
We're talking about pickup artistry. We have Tony online. Hi, Tony.
Hi there, Laurie.
Hi. It says here you're from Vancouver and you're a pickup artist coach?
I am. I'm a pickup artist coach.
Tell us more.
Vancouver. Yeah. How are you?
Awesome. Great. Great to hear from you and you calling in all the way from Vancouver. Love it.
Yeah, well, you said you wanted to talk to some people who teach this stuff for a living. And I do. I actually do teach this for a living. You guys are talking about negs and some funny old concepts, but I just wanted to say that, like, a lot of those techniques came from this book called The Game.
Yes.
And back when this stuff was invented, the whole seduction coaching, the guys that wrote that stuff didn't really know what they were doing. So it's come a long way. It's not so tactics-based and manipulative anymore. It's based a lot more on confidence nowadays.
On confidence. So building confidence. So you're teaching people how to show confidence, even if they don't really are confident.
Absolutely, because confidence comes from experience.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I take people out and I give them an experience, and I teach them how to express themselves.
Yeah.
And through that experience and that practice, they actually become more confident. And so women see that, and they actually become attracted to that.
Right. So you're building the confidence in them by showing them that they can do it. And then the more they do it and the more they succeed, the more confident they become, and the easier it is for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and of course, we work on other things. Like we work on body language.
Mm-hmm.
We work on vocal tonality, eye contact, inner belief systems. We call it inner game,
mm-hmm.
and a host of other practical applications.
Right. So basically, it's like what Frank was saying. You're talking a lot about teaching communication skills. Tony, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Hey, Laurie, no problem.
All right, have a good night. Bye-bye now. We'll talk to another pickup artist student coming up on the other side of the news.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
This here's a jam for all the fellas. Try to do what those ladies tell us. Get shot down because you're overzealous. Play hard to get.
Good choice, Brad. Hey, I'm impressed with you tonight. We're all dancing here. Oh, we should talk, I guess, right? Instead of dance. We're talking about pickup artistry, really, and the whole seduction game. There was a time when Frank Kermit, by the way, is here with me tonight. It's our dating dilemmas, if I forgot to tell you. And he was very much involved in the whole seduction coaching community and got a little bit turned off by the whole thing. And you were telling me off air that a lot of misogyny turned you off. Like you saw a lot of men hating women, basically.
Some of the seduction coaches were men who, yes, they were getting sex, but they had a real hatred for women. And I remember some of the very first seduction coaches that I met started off by talking about how all the guys in the room were special, and you're nice, and women have screwed you over, so it's time to go out there and get sex and get what you can from them, because they're trying to screw you over just as much as you want to screw them. And it's just this horrible thing.
Yeah,
it really
that's pretty
is.
bad.
And when you're dealing with a bunch of guys who basically are nice guys, maybe they're not the most calibrated guys, a lot of them have broken hearts. They were madly in love with a girl who rejected them. They get the speech repeatedly, I like you, but I just want to be friends. They're very generous with women. They're too nice. They get taken advantage of. And finally, there's somebody who's saying, no, you're the right person. The rest of the world's wrong. Now I'm going to teach you how to get those girls. It can be very, very alluring.
So I can understand why this whole industry got such a bad reputation.
Well, when some of the people who are supposedly teachers in this are going to jail because they shot a girl in the face,
Oy.
or they're former medical doctors who have lost their license due to inappropriate activities with female patients, when you have this type of thing going on, I remember one pickup artist who was a coach, and I got into an argument with him on a forum because he had said something like, there was this article about a woman saying she didn't want to be approached, and his remark was, she's just mad because no one would ever rape her.
Oh, that's horrible.
Because she's not pretty enough to be raped. And I just went in and said, what are you talking about? Like, this is the dumbest thing you could be saying.
This is horrible, right.
And, I understand with Tony, who's a pickup artist, calling in, saying that the industry has changed. I think that the industry has been rebranded. And I think that a lot of the newer pickup artists, maybe they really do focus on confidence and try to take a positive aspect to it. But the stigma has always been there. I've also met a lot of the younger pickup artist coaches coming in, and, a lot of them come into it because they want to make money. They don't necessarily have the ability to relate to clients, trying to present themselves as, their websites will say something like Canada's leading dating advisor. And I'm thinking, where do you get that credential from?
Right.
It's pretty sleazy. And if you're going to go into it, the best advice that I could give for people to protect themselves, have your boundaries set. Make sure you know what your ethics are, what your ethical boundaries are. And when a pickup artist coach or a seduction coach or someone tries to tell you to do something that is counter to those boundaries, run.
Okay, well, that's good advice. And speaking about, we've got another guest on the phone, Ricky Whitney. He's studying pickup, so he's a pickup artist student. And actually what caught my attention, is he produces an independent comic strip called The Pickup. And very funny, but he has a character on there that is after you, Frank.
That's right.
Frank Biggs, based on our very own Frank Kermit. So I love that. Ricky, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's great. Very funny, your little comic strip thing here.
Thank you.
So how did you come to make a comic strip, especially about this topic?
Okay, I had my little problem with struggling with picking up women myself. So
okay.
I had to study the art of pickup myself. Well, that kind of influenced me to do a comic book of my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only person I can thank to is Frank B. Kermit.
So you thank him for making you a success.
Pretty much.
So tell me about your process. So you are studying at Pcik Up Artsts. Does it make you successful in pickups? Yeah.
Yes, it has. Actually, I mean, I had a couple dates. You know, it was wonderful and everything.
Okay, good. Now there was a study that was just published that showed that yes, the whole pickup, you can learn pickup and it works, but it makes often guys feel bad about themselves. Was there any point in your, in this, where you felt badly about yourself, that you felt you might be doing something wrong or you weren't really being yourself or what have you?
No, not at all. I mean, it helped me.
It helped you.
Because, like I said, I was struggling with trying to talk to women. And once I learned the material, I mean, it caught on to me real fast.
Okay. And now that you have your comic strip, that must help you in, you have such an interesting thing to actually talk about.
Yeah, it helps me a lot.
So are you an artist by trade?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's called the Pickup Comic. You can go to the pickupcomic.wordpress.com if you want to see a very cute Frank Kermit in there, and he's the character Frank Biggs. Do you have any questions for Ricky, Frank?
Ricky, I wanted to ask you, if you didn't find the study of pickup, where do you think you would be?
Honestly, I'd probably be kind of. I feel depressed, but still, I feel depressed. Honestly.
How old are you, Ricky?
I'm about 34.
You're 34? All right. So the whole story is you were having difficulty connecting to women, and you needed help to learn how to approach women.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decided you're going to turn this into a comic strip. Your trials and tribulations in the field of pickup, you put into a comic strip.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's great. Let's send people to your comic strip. The pickupcomic.wordpress.com. Ricky, thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye. 514-790-0991. If you'd like to talk to our very own Frank Kermit, also known as Frank Biggs in this pickup comic strip, I think that's hysterical that somebody used you as the... And they pick, like I saw the comic strip, it's you.
Yeah.
The hat, the pinch.
When I used to dress like a pimp as part of a social experiment where for about a year I would dress like a pimp and go out about town to see what would happen and how that would change people. I gotta tell you, I went out there and not knowing what to expect. All I got was wonderful attention from strangers. When I would walk to Montreal street festivals, I would have couples stop me so that the guy could take a picture with me with his girlfriend.
That's funny.
And because I wanted to make sure that I get rapport with the guy, I used to put my hat on and give him a couple of my chains. I'd get him to pose looking like he was the pimp. It was fantastic. I would have women come up and start flirting with me. One woman in a club just came over and just started touching me all over saying, "You're so sexy. You're so sensual." And I'm thinking, okay, this is cool, but I'm being felt up by a complete stranger.
This is really not me.
No.
Okay.
But there was one thing. I finally understood what it was like for a girl to get so much sexual attention based on the way she looks, knowing that everybody who's approaching her would never approach her under other contexts.
Right.
And I actually got angry. Because
interesting, yeah?
I knew that all these girls just looking at me, wanting to spend time with me, wanting to flirt with me, wanting to show me off to her friends, if I was dressed normally, they wouldn't even give me the time of day. And that's when I says, this is why a lot of women just blow guys off when they're getting approached, because they just get this sexual attention all the time, and they know that there's no genuineness.
There's no substance to it, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just based on the way you present yourself.
It was a wonderful experiment. I'm glad that I did it. I did get a few threats from people who saw me dress like a pimp, people shouting at me from cars. Trying to,
Well, this is what I find very fascinating about you, Frank, is that you tried so many things. Like, you've experimented. In order to understand human behavior, you went out into the field.
Yes.
And you just talked to so many people, trying to figure out what it is, what is it that makes these people tick? How do they date? Why do they date? All of these things. And of course, that's interesting. And then you wrote all these books about it. So, by the way, if you want to hear Frank talk about all of this stuff, every Saturday night, he has free workshops